Daily driven 392, daily driving. 1, 2, 3. Slower than hell. .5, still full tank of gas, full thing of tools. 14.7 and a quarter mile that I let off. I've had this 392 now for about 7 months and 14,734 miles. It is a 2022 non-XR Wrangler Rubicon 392 in Snazberry Pearl Coat. Right now, I'm running on 35s or 315s, BFGs, KM3s, mud terrains. 392 for me it's been everything I could have hoped for. It's a great vehicle. Look at all the fishing. There must have been 15 bobbers stuck in that wire back there. So I believe these computers learn the driving style and patterns of the person who owns it. I spent some time this weekend in my friend's XR. What I came away with is that his is definitely quicker off the line because of the gearing, and his doesn't go into 4-cylinder as easily as mine does. Again, it may be because of the gearing. The steering felt maybe a tad sharper, but other than that, I actually think that the ride may have been a little stiffer in that one than it is in this one. Not that it was bad, it was just stiffer than what I'm driving every day. To me, it's not that great a deal. I didn't see it as a deal breaker now. You know, it's do I want to go and trade this in and try and find an XR? Absolutely not, because I want this color. And right now, I've had very good luck with this machine in 7 months and 15,000 miles. And I believe in karma, and I believe in bonding with your machines. You know, you bond with things. So I'm very happy with this non-XR 392. It has been a fantastic vehicle. 15,000 miles in 7 months is nothing to sneeze at. There's a 8th mile track not far from where I live, and when Test and Tune opens up, I'm going to have to go in there and see what she'll do on a 8th mile without all the 400 pounds plus tools and a full tank of gas, which is a great segue into my next topics. And those topics are the brake torque function and the Off-Road Plus. So starting with the Off-Road Plus, I drive 99.9% of the time in Off-Road Plus. The only time I'm not in Off-Road Plus is when I'm driving in the rain or the roads are slick because of, light precipitation or something. Other than that, I'm going to be in Off-Road Plus. It gives the vehicle that feel that I'm expecting and that I desire out of 470 horsepower and 470 pound-foot of torque. It seems to free it up more. It gives it definitely more aggressive tune, aggressive, throttle pedal, aggressive braking. Everything is just a little more taunter and more at the ready. It just feels better to me. That being said, when you're just going to drive slow, and I could see how in inclement weather, snow, and in the sand, I as well was using the regular mode of driving. So it does have its place, but there's a definite feel if you just driving like this in regular mode and then press the Off-Road Plus button, it immediately starts switching over. You feel it, everything changes. You feel it feels more free and looser, and you just notice the touch of the gas pedal changes. Everything feels a little more aggressive, and that's what I really enjoy about it. That's just getting into the Off-Road Plus. Once you're using it, I've found and I've noticed a lot of different variations in what it does and how it does it. depending on what it sees you trying to do, kind of sets up what it's going to do. So the guys who programmed this thing must have taken it out and beat on this thing, you know, and really played with it, because they've got a lot of it figured out pretty darn good. But I have noticed now over 15,000 miles that this vehicle is learning my driving habits and my patterns. So when it sees certain things, it adjusts. Like when it sees that I'm just kind of slow cruising, it'll drop into 4-cylinder almost every time now. It handles heat very well. It's extremely hot. South Florida, 100% humidity. It's 91 out right now. Blazing hot. I've got the AC on. Coolant temp, 208. Now let's go to the off-road page. So select Off-Road Plus. Sport exhaust is on. Off-Road Plus shuts off the traction control. Well, technically, in the Off-Road Plus, for those that may not have a Rubicon, this is auxiliary switch locations. I've used the paddle shifters a few times. It's okay. It has, I'm sure it has its purposes, but Off-Road Plus changes quite a few different functions of the computers, and depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it, it really does make a big difference in many ways. It's so much fun, and regular street driving in Off-Road Plus is the way to go. For this vehicle, which is a 2022 non-XR 392, I'm running 315/70 BFG's KM3 muds. Great tires. I love these tires. For me, for what I do, for what I've been doing, I find they work best for me. I'm averaging around 14.8 in Off-Road Plus, typically in Off-Road Plus driving, and that includes hammering it from time to time, you know, when I'm out and about. I do daily drive this thing. Seems like when you're using a little bit more of an RPM, it tends to not give the brap in between the upshifts. So in Off-Road Plus, if you're on the street and you just go from a straight dig, even in the dirt in a straight dig, in Off-Road Plus, from a dead stop, you will get the upshifting braps, or whatever you want to call it, in between first and second, third and fourth, you know, when you're upshifting. Straight dig. One, two, three. 30, 50, 75. Shift points 30, 50, 75. If you're in Off-Road Plus and you stage a brake torque, and the revs are high enough, it will quick shift first, second, third, and sometimes third and fourth. And it won't give you that brap when it upshifts. It quick shifts and it leaves out that brap. Costs precious milliseconds, and those milliseconds add up when you're going 0 to 60. Reset. Off-Road Plus. Right at red line. And every 4.5 that I've gotten so far has been when the tranny quick shifts. When I brake torque and it quick shifts. To be, I think it is RPM related. The way the brake torque brake torque function, whatever you want to call it, works is that you press the brake, you start giving it gas. As the revs increase, you'll start hearing the engine change sound, the exhaust change sounds, and the engine gets really harsh, very erratic feeling, a lot of vibration. So according to what I've read and what I've saw in this video with some engineer from Jeep, what's going on is it's retarding the spark, and it's taking fuel from 4 cylinders. That's why it gets rough. That's why the exhaust note changes. And it's allowing the manifold to pre-fill with air. Basically, it's still sucking in the same amount of air, but it's not using as much because it's only running on 4 cylinders. So there's air filling that manifold. So the second that you release that brake, the manifold is already full of air. It gives back the spark and the gas, and you instantaneously take off. And it doesn't seem like it's such a big deal, but it is. It really does make a big difference. Reset. 1, 2, 3. Notice that in Off-Road Plus, it varies the way it shifts, and when it shifts, and how it shifts, and the way it shifts, depending on what you're doing. Most of the time, if I am running in Off-Road Plus, but I'm not doing a brake torque, I'll get the BRAP when it upshifts. You don't get that when you're in normal 4-high driving. 4-high auto, I guess. It only gives you quicker shifts. It gives a crisper shift. It gives a more aggressive throttle. It gives the steering a little more quickness and tension, I guess would be a good way to put it. And it gives the entire vehicle a more free feeling. I don't know how else to describe it. Drive down the road and then flick on that Off-Road Plus button and you'll understand exactly what I mean. So the Off-Road Plus is a great way to have a little fun. Let's do a brake torque here. 2025. Slip sliding away. One thing I desperately need on this vehicle are front mud flaps. I've had a lot of Jeeps. I've always had Jeeps with oversized wheels, and I cannot believe the amount of rocks and garbage that get kicked up from this specific vehicle, and it's got to be because of the V8. I mean, I've always had to laugh when I see people rip the fenders off their Jeeps, because so many times I've gotten hit with rocks in the face and stuff from having no fenders. So now I've realized, fenders are a good thing in the right places, in the right uses. I have this thing about not getting smashed in the face with rocks anymore. But this thing really tends to shoot stuff, so I'm gonna have to get some mud flaps on this thing. This vehicle is a phenomenal daily driver. In this stock form on 35s, I'm very happy with this thing. It fits my needs perfectly. It may not fit everybody's needs perfectly, but it fits my needs perfectly. Damn gators, right out in the middle of the road. It's such a surprise to people around you. People freak out. They have no clue what's going on. This Jeep is so undercover, it's like the perfect sleeper. It's the perfect sleeper because nobody even notices that it's not another Jeep. Other than the 392 badges, there's nothing to give it away. And in some ways I don't like that, in some ways I do. I almost think it needs to be a little bit more distinctive from other Jeeps. But yet, I don't draw a lot of unwanted attention because it is. If it was, I probably would draw unwanted attention. But it's nice to be able to just flip that exhaust off, quiets it right down, and everybody looks around like, hey, me, I'm just a Jeep. I don't know what you're talking about, officer. I have trouble getting up to the speed limit. The valved exhaust is a great option to have. A 392 is the perfect sleeper. Nobody expects it to do what it does, and that makes it even more fun. See where this one ends up. This ain't a pretty one though. And it's coming at night. They said 5 a.m. it'll be west of us. I find that hard to believe. It's only 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. It's telling me from 2100 hours to 0500 hours that thing is gonna take that long to go 90 miles. Mr. Squirrel doesn't care about hurricane, he's got E. Yeah, all I see is a screen. That's horrible. Man, that wind is coming through. My yard's a lake. Back half of the yard. Oh, wow. That. Took out my fence. Thing took down my fence. If that's all that happens today, I'll be happy. Now we're getting some serious wind. Almost what, 6:15 or 6:30? This is ridiculous. One of my trees went down. These are some of the worst yet. I don't know what these people are talking about, but I wish I had some Doppler radar to look at. Try and get an idea of what might be going on. Radio sucks. It's okay, guys. It's alright. Unbelievable the amount of destruction